too much ribbon, so I have nowhere to put my notes. Welcome to the celebration of life for Kelli, Nicole, Despain. While none of us want to be here, none of us would rather be anywhere else. That wasn't grammatically correct. I'm going to start that sentence over. Welcome to the celebration of life for Kelli, Nicole, Despain. While none of us wanted to be at this event, none of us would rather. No, I can't. I'm just going to say it the way it was. No one would rather be anywhere else. But you know what I mean. Okay. It's understood. Also, I'm going to apologize in advance. I'm not supposed to cry tonight. I scheduled myself for a chemical peel, and it was today. And I told them I couldn't do it today because I have this. And they said, well, if you don't do it today, you can't do it for 6 months. And I just turned 50. Kelli died in between Jared's birthday and mine, and I knew she would want me to not look 50. So I did it. And they told me that if I cried, I would either have to stop the tear here or not have tears, because the tears would take the chemical peel off. So please don't make me cry tonight. That's all I'm saying. So I'm serving as kind of the MC. We're going to hear from 3 buckets of people tonight: her actual family, her chosen family, and her Bottega family. And if you don't know already, this is her space, and you can see that she's everywhere. She helped us set up tonight. This is all her stuff, and she's everywhere. I'm part of her chosen family. My name tonight is not Megan Jones, it's Megan Despain, which it's been for the last 16 years of my life. And we met for the first time in 2008 with a lot of people who are here tonight. Because we met in my backyard, and they didn't know we met, but we met them in 2008 when we had a big party in my backyard, and Jared was in the shower, and we all saw him. And so, if you were in my backyard in 2008 at that party, you should raise your hand. So she never thought she would meet us, and she met all of us the next Sunday at church. So I've also been going through many of my texts since she passed away. Many of our texts, she's not a great texter. She's not a good phone talker either. It's not her way. She's an in-person, you gotta feel her, you gotta be with her. But I do have a lot of texts from her, and many of them fell into 2 buckets. One was, meet me at the back of the wall to have a chat, and the other one was, let's move to Europe, and what do you think about this property? We obviously didn't move to Europe, not yet, although she has a down payment on a castle, and I know Jared's super excited about it. So those early years at the wall, they were some of the best years and some of the hardest years. We tried to solve all the world's problems at the wall and some of our own, and we would talk about her crazy hair client stories back in those days and cry about our struggles as being young moms. Of course, she was younger than me, which she always reminded me of. We would scheme on how to set up her elaborate witch's teas that always cost more money than she told Jared about. And we also planned her metamorphosis from a hairstylist to a designer, a full-fledged taking her hobby of designing Christmas cards, which I know she did for many of you here, into a full-fledged design business that ran the gamut of creating anything you could imagine, including paraphernalia for the Vice President of the United States, who stood right here just a few months ago. Kelli was able to introduce her. So before I hand it over to her actual family to say a few words, and then her chosen family, and then her Bottega family. So if you know you're speaking and you know the order, please do so. Otherwise, I'm going to be forced to come back up here. Before I turn it over, I'm going to read a note that the family received. Please accept my dearest condolence for the loss of your beloved wife, mother, daughter, and sister, Kelli Despain. I was saddened to hear her news of her passing. Kelli built a life full of love and care. Her joyous spirit and creativity were gifts to all of those she touched. I know that her legacy will live on through you and everyone who knew her. She will be remembered for the light she brought to this world. May the joy and love that you share carry through this difficult time. Doug and I will keep you in our thoughts and prayers. Sincerely, Vice President Kamala Harris.
Kelli was beautiful, she was confident, she's creative, she was positive, she was courageous, she had no limits, and she was so much fun. And even when we got in trouble, she was still fun. She wasn't afraid. She was never afraid of she wasn't afraid of failing. She wasn't afraid of getting in trouble. She wanted to do it all, and there was no limits to her, what she wanted to do, and she succeeded in almost every single thing she ever tried. She loved to travel. We both loved, I'm Jared's mom, and we both loved to sew and crochet and knit and do crafty things, and she was very, very crafty. Way more than me, but she never let any kind of failure take hold of her. It was like, oh well, let's try it again next week. And I love that about Kelli. I mean, I don't know, she was more like my hero than my daughter-in-law. And I remember coming to Vegas before they moved into their house. They were in a rental house, and I came to help her when Oliver was born, and I was just doing laundry, and she just acted like, thanks, Renelle, you're the best. I mean, I was just there to help do whatever she needed to do, and she didn't make me feel at all awkward or anything, because I had done that for both my girls, and I wanted to do it for my other girls too. And so she was there to just be the baby, and I let her, and she let me hold him a lot, and it was fun. I really did enjoy spending that time with her. But I have loved Kelli for 23, 24 years, however long it's been since I met her, and I think Kelli was the best decision you ever made.
Yeah, it was.
And I want to thank Diane Wally for helping her be the person she was, because she was an angel. She's probably organizing the angels to sing the Hallelujah chorus right now. She truly was a light, and I loved her. I loved her my whole life that I've ever met. I mean, I will love her the rest of my life. No matter whether she's here or not, she'll be in my heart. So thank you.
Such a wonderful gathering to celebrate and honor our daughter and Kelly's mom. And this is her dad, Wally, right down there.
Yeah.
And I have to say, we raised Kelly, and she was always an energetic, smart, talented overachiever. She went to 2 colleges at the same time and graduated. She did study abroad, and she traveled with a friend for a few months in Europe, and then she did a study abroad in London for a few months. And but all of that, and knowing Kelly, I realized through this last couple of weeks, through all of the, text, all of the messages, all of the tributes made to Kelly, I didn't even hardly know her at all. I didn't know that she accomplished so much here in Las Vegas. And reading her obituary, I said to Megan, she did those things. She did all that stuff. And every time we came to Las Vegas, she was in the middle of a big project, a huge project. And I'm like, really, Kelly? You're doing this? And up to, she lived the last 2.5 years, just had the drive to go, and didn't let anything stop her. And that, she had that light. Her spirit just shined through all of this. And it shines still. It's shining in heaven, and we know that, and we believe that. And I'm so grateful to Jared for allowing us to bring Kelly home to Oakley and be buried in Oakley. We had a beautiful funeral service for her just last week, and it was lovely. And she wanted to be in Oakley. I don't know if you know Oakley, beautiful country setting in the mountains, Eastern Park City. She loved it. Beautiful blue skies. It was a gorgeous day. And she wanted her casket, which was built by her best friend's husband. She asked him over a year ago, will you build my casket? I will help you design it. I just want to be home. And then she drew it out, and Megan said it looked like Dracula's. So we're like, no, that's not how it's going to be. He built the most beautiful casket, wood from Africa, he said that he had. He's a beautiful woodworker in Kansas Valley, and it was gorgeous. And she would just love it. And then about a year ago, at Wally's uncle's funeral, we were out in the hallway, and up in Oakley, we have a wonderful man with a handlebar mustache, a big cowboy hat, and he drives a team of Clydesdale horses pulling a glass hearse. Beautiful black hearse, led by Clydesdale horses with black feathers coming out. And Wally's uncle, they used that to take him over to the cemetery. And we're out in the hall, and I say to Kelly, his name is Jim. I says, Kelly, this is Jim and Gloria Mitchell. You remember them? He owns the hearse. Their friend's going to be pulled over to the cemetery. And she said to him, oh, can I book you in 3 to 5 years? That was only a year ago. But it floored him. It floored him. He could not believe that somebody would actually. And so when we were at her house during the time of her when we was at the hospital after Thanksgiving, we did this whole time, and we brought her home in a hospital bed. It was Tuesday morning. She passed Wednesday night. I got on the phone and I called Jim. I said, I don't know if you remember my daughter Kelly. I said that she's on her way out, and do you remember? And he said, oh, of course I remember her saying that to me. And I promised her I would do that. And he did. We had a beautiful procession going from down by our rodeo grounds. It's called the Red Barn. We had a beautiful, we decorated, made some Megan, and all the stuff, Megan's not right. And her friends that came and helped decorate, Lonnie that helped build these flowers and helped decorate. It was just beautiful. And I don't know where I was going with this, but it was a beautiful celebration for her, and we were so grateful for all the friends. And we got to know her friends the last 2 years a lot. We had seen her. I mean, we travel back and forth to Vegas all the time. We're always at their house. In fact, his brother said, when are you never here? We always say, because it's just a 7-hour drive to come to Las Vegas. And so we would come a lot. And we knew her friends, because every time we came to see Kelly during the last 2.5 years, through all of her procedures, her surgeries, her door was a revolving door. Her friends would come constantly. They'd bring her gifts and food and visits and just lots and lots of love. And we felt, and Jared took such great care of her and loves her so much that we never had to worry about her, that she was well taken care of, and we couldn't be down here in Las Vegas. She was well taken care of, and we got a lot of comfort from that. One last thing I want to share with you, very special thing that happened the day after our funeral. our son, our youngest son Taylor, he actually painted the picture back there. He's an artist. Him and Kelly, Lonnie's very talented. But him and Kelly they're painters, they're artists, they're creators. And he works for Disney Company, Taylor does. And he works in the archive department at Burbank, at the Burbank corporate offices. And he sent us this text the Friday after the funeral. He said this: I just received word from Becky, who's the archive director, that the Walt Disney Company made a generous donation to the National Breast Cancer Foundation in honor of Kelly. The email I got from the foundation reads, this donation made in memory of Kelly Nicole Larson Despain is positively changing the lives of women facing breast cancer by providing screenings, education, and support. And they signed it, your friends at the National Breast Cancer Foundation. Woo. Taylor's only worked there for a year, and he talked about Kelly a lot. He told them about her. They knew he was going to have to take time off to come to her funeral. And to do this was something remarkable. And so anyway, I thank everybody for loving Kelly and for supporting her and for being such great friends. She loved Bottega. She loved this place. She was so proud of it. And we came down in the beginning. Wally was helping wire it and do electrical stuff and helping her design different things. And then she fell through the ceiling. Broke her foot. She was, hey, if I need to get something done, I'm going to do it. And I don't care what it takes. I'm going to do it. So we're so proud of her. So proud to be Kelly's parents. And thank you all very much.
Hello, I am Lonnie, Kelly's younger sister, definitely the subpar talented. No, I always tell my friends it's the bookends that are creative, and they always think, you've got to be creative. No, it's fell on the bookends. So Kelly was oddly good at preparing all of us for this outcome. And even though she talked about it a lot and posted about it and blogged about it, I could never actually come to terms with it. And even now, I'm having a really hard time grasping the reality. Kelly and I became really, really close when I was in my late teens. And ever since then, she has been my guide. I'm standing here and I feel just a little lost. It's hard when your beacon is gone. But it's also very sweet to sit here and know how wonderful she was, how much influence that she gave to everyone, and what she created. When I was engaged and looking for a full-time job, deciding I needed to become an adult, I had very little skill set in the workforce. And Kelly invited me over and said, okay, let me teach you everything that you need to know about Microsoft Excel. And we sat there and taught me every single thing so I could go in there and be proficient. And then she called her old boss and got me an interview, and then I got hired, obviously, because I was Kelly's little sister. So my skills were nothing compared to her. I remember one day at the office, and we eventually went into the same role and worked under the same boss. He comes to me and he says, you know what, you're not very much like your older sister, are you? I said, well, no, I am not as nice. Which was true. She would do anything for everybody. She had no boundaries.
She treated everyone like her best friend. And I should do more of that. I always told my friends that everything Kelli touched turned gold. And it was true. Even when something turned into a mess, she would somehow turn it into gold. And that's because Kelli was pure gold. Kelli was infectious, welcoming, the best gatherer, the most amazing hostess. She was an incredible storyteller and had no filter at all. She never let challenges stop her, and she always found a way to figure it out. I laugh out loud every single time I remember all the outrageous adventures that Kelli would have. And I remember on the phone, here talking to her about things, wishing that I was there to tag team it with her. Wishing that I could figure it out together, and that I just wish I was we're like Siamese twin, attached. But at least I got to hear her stories. Kelli's always been a force, one that we all visibly felt. And these last few years, her force took on a whole new direction, still with the same kindness and graciousness nature that she always had, but with a different purpose behind her. She had the confidence now to vocalize what she was passionate about in the most articulate way. I watched Kelli's influence shift when she got cancer. She invited me to go to Adobe Max conference with her, and she had found the lump the week before. And we went through the entire week in LA, and I didn't even know. And the strength that it probably took to watch out for me, I know that she was just trying to protect me. Her intentions became more bold after her diagnosis. Her advocacy for equality and women's rights became a top priority. And I am lucky to be able to look around and see the influence that Kelli had on every single one of us. And I know that that will continue to spread and make a difference. Kelli created a space for everyone. Literally, we are standing in the space that her and Megan had created for everyone. And with Kelli's touches and with her devotion and dedication, it has turned into a place where everyone can come and love on each other and feel welcome and have a great time. Being a part of Kelli's world, we now have a piece of her in ours, and I hope that we can take that light and spread it.
Most of you know me as her oldest, but if you haven't met me, I am Ashley, I'm her oldest, and I've worked here since basically they opened it in 2019, just doing whatever they asked me to do. And since 2019 when she opened it, her and Megan, she spent every waking moment of her life committed to making a space of community, of entrepreneurship and networking and creativity, and a place where people can take their businesses to the next level. Which she found joy in. She found joy in helping people and helping them achieve their dreams, and which is why she opened this place in the first place. She loved each and every member of Bottega so much, and she would drop anything for any one of them, and not even a cancer diagnosis could stop that. I just lost my spot. We would often tell her to slow down or rest and take a break because of all the treatment she was going through, but she refused. She would just work so hard every day despite the pain she went through, and most people couldn't even see that she was going through pain because she was just so positive. I'll end with this. I'm really grateful for Megan and my mom creating this space because if you look around, it screams Kelli, and her legacy will stay alive as well as our hearts. And I think I speak for everybody when I say we will miss her so much, but ever changed for the better because of having known her and me being raised by her.
Hello everybody. My name is Despain, Kelly's daughter, and I wanted to share a short passage from a book called Tuesdays with Maury that I recently reread. Last night, Maury said softly. Yes, last night. I had a terrible spell. It went on for hours, and I wasn't really sure I was going to make it. No breath, no end to the choking. At one point, I started to get dizzy, and I felt a certain peace. I felt that I was ready to go. His eyes widened. Mitch, it was the most incredible feeling, the sensation of accepting what was happening, being at peace. I was thinking about a dream I had last week, where I was crossing the bridge into something unknown, being ready to move on to whatever is next. But you didn't. Maury waited a moment. He shook his head slightly. No, I didn't, but I felt that I could. Do you understand? That's what we're all looking for. A certain peace with the idea of dying. If we know, in the end, that we can ultimately have that peace with dying, then we could finally do this really hard thing, which is make peace with living. He asked to see the hibiscus plant on the ledge behind him. I cupped it in my hand and held it up near his eyes. He smiled. It's natural to die, he said again. The fact that we make such a big hullabaloo over it is all because we don't see ourselves as part of nature. We think because we're human, we're something above nature. He smiled at the plant. We're not. Everything that gets born dies. He looked at me. Do you accept that? Yes. Alright, he whispered. Now here's the payoff. Here's how we are different from these wonderful plants and animals. As long as we can have as long as we can love each other and remember the feeling of love we had, we can die without ever really going away. All the love you created is still there. All the memories are still there. You live on in the hearts of everyone you have touched and nurtured while you were here. His voice was raspy, which usually meant he needed to stop for a while. I placed the plant back on the ledge and went to shut off the tape recorder. This is the last sentence Maury got out before I did. Death ends a life, not a relationship. I wanted to share this to shed light on the fact that my mom is still alive, in her memories, and she lives on, in the legacies she has created, the paths that she has paved, and all the hearts she has touched. She lives on in the way I joke, the way I create, the way I see things. She lives on in my thin hair, my love for art, and how I talk to people. I will always be thankful for my mom for showing me how to live life in the most vibrant way. And I will always remember her support for me to live the life I choose. I am so grateful to have spent so much time with the most amazing person I have ever met, and all of the lessons she has taught me. I am so proud of her and everything she has created, and she will forever be my hero.
I'm Adrienne Hutchinson. We've, transitioned to chosen family. I met Kelly in 2008 at a preschool orientation for Jolie and Ashton. I remember being enamored with her from the jump and also clocking that her kids were all my kids' ages, and I'm like, I gotta make friends with this girl. And then since then, I was lucky enough to call her a hairstylist and a friend and a neighbor and a sister. Through her short time on this world, she taught me 6 important life lessons. Love. Kelly loved fiercely. She adored Jared, and she was obsessed with her kids. She was such a mama bear when it came to her kids.
She loved her parents and her siblings. And when Kelly shined her light on you, you felt like her most favorite person. When Megan and I went with her to her oncologist appointment, she was so worried about me, which is just so Kelly, to not even thinking about herself. My mom passed away from breast cancer too, so Kelly was always like, oh, how is this gonna affect Adrian? How is this gonna affect you, Kelly? After the night that she passed, Jared and I were talking, and Jared said, you know, she always kind of liked people who were like a project to her. That's why she liked the two of us so much. Jared. I was like, thanks. I thought it was her favorite, but it's a project. The next thing she taught was support. She was an advocate for the arts. We were in a McDonald's in Italy because our girl loved a foreign McDonald's. Like, forget about the 5-star dining. She wants to go see what special items they have there. And my son Michael was just sketching in his book. He was doing graffiti, and she just fell in love with it and was, you need to pursue this. You need to do this. And it was just, he felt so seen. She supported Rob with his bike business, and Jolie, she was so excited with Jolie getting into hair because that was her first love. Kelly was an advocate of education, educating people on breast cancer, and making sure that you're healthy. She loved the collaboration of artists here at Bottega. She loved art and reading and learning. Another thing is just, she taught me was to curate life, which is silly, but she would always just go over and above. I had a pool party when I turned 39, and she made a full step and repeat that said Adrian's almost over the hill for a pool party, guys. Like, on New Year's Eve during COVID, we kind of decided that the Joneses and the Despains and Hutchinsons were our own little pod, and so we could celebrate together, and she created this elaborate event. Her witch's teas, her gift giving, making everything beautiful. Jolie came home or said something about Thanksgiving, and she said, oh, since when are we such a fancy family with this? And I was like, it's because Kelly gave it to me. Everything I own that's beautiful, I think, came from Kelly. I mean, she even curated a party to tell us an update on her cancer, which was a beautiful invitation, and my favorite part of there was like, what? A get together to discuss Kelly's cancer, and then it said, will there be food there? And she wrote, hell yes. Another thing she taught me is travel. I've been keeping in my notes, we've been on approximately 25 trips together and visited 7 countries. She was an advocate for travel, especially for young children and broadening their horizons. She created these beautiful itineraries that were books with pictures and QR codes, and this is what time we're going here. A few of my favorite travel memories when Megan and Kelly and I got stuck at the top of the Swiss Alps in the rainstorm, and we told some people that our husbands were at the Tour de France and that our kids were with the au pair in Paris. And this lady goes, what do you do for a living? Elementary school teacher. But we really prioritized travel, and we made all those things happen. I was really blessed to visit Paris with her again in February, and then in May we did trip of a lifetime in Portugal and Morocco. The last thing she taught me was laughter, and Claire made a comment that if she couldn't find her, she would just listen. And I found this video of her laughing at Jared because Jared's luggage got lost in Italy, and he was wearing one of my shirts. And so I'm like making this beautiful video of our
of. I guess I'm the lucky chosen family. Kelli, Despain. I've been blessed to share lots of love and lots of memory with the Despains and Kelli in the last 16 years. As Adrian mentioned, we traveled a lot, different places, fun things together. Lots of memories in those travels, but I'm not going to share travel memories today. I'm going to try to be a little bit more happy with my sharing memories. So I'm going to share a funny one. So it was Kelly's 39th birthday. One thing is every birthday, us three families would always make it an excuse to celebrate or do something. We didn't care what birthday it was, right? 50, sorry. Or 39. So on the 39th birthday, we just went downtown Las Vegas, decided to have a little bit of dinner, and to kind of just look at the street performers. But Kelli, being Kelli and being spontaneous as she is, said, you know what? I'm gonna get a tattoo. So, for those of you that didn't know, Kelli has one tattoo. And so she drew that tattoo. And it's a heart. It's a purple heart. Or pink heart. Or red heart. I thought it was purple. Anyways, it wasn't just a normal tattoo parlor either. It was huge. It was a huge storefront where everyone could see, right? She got the tattoo on her bum. Just so you guys, just picture this, right? That was her 39th birthday. So fast forward, Kelli gets diagnosed. It's now her 44th birthday. So we're like, what can we do? Let's celebrate Kelli, right? And so what us, same group of friends, and including Jared, decided to do, Jared found that drawing of that heart. And all of us went to a tattoo parlor, not openly open though, and got the same tattoo on the same bum of ours for everyone to, and then we went to Jared's house and Kelli's house to have cake and moon. Kelli's positivity, it was contagious. It really was. Adrian spoke on this a little bit, but literally, you thought that you were connected to her more than anyone else, no matter who you were. I thought that. I thought we were better than everyone in the group. Me and Kelli. Right? Come to find out, everybody felt that way. Even people I've never even met before. But that was just Kelli. It was contagious, her love. And the power of love is strong. The power of love is really strong with Kelli. And that's the one thing that I've learned in the last 16 years is to live in the moment, be spontaneous, and live with love. Because that's what Kelli does. She lives with love. And she will forever be living with love in my heart.
I will say I was also one of those people that as soon as I met Kelli, I was like, yes, I gotta find that way to be her friend. Luckily we had kids the same age. And then she's a hairdresser, yay! So I was so excited to get my hair done with Kelli because that was one-on-one time where I got to like chat with her, and she's always such a good listener. And like everybody said, she made me feel like her best friend. There was a lot of times, you know, as I was around Kelli that I just thought, how can I get closer to her? How can I be in her orbit? And my way is usually like, what can I do for you? What can I help you with? And I remember her talking about the witch's tea, and I was so excited, and it was like the coolest event that I, had ever heard of. And I was like, how can I help? And she's like, no, I want to do this for my friends. And I just remember being in awe at what a special thing that she put so much work into. And I know she had her few people that she did let help. but that she put so much work and effort into just being so generous with her talents and sharing them with all these people that she loved, and it was so special. Kelly was really good at serving others, but she wasn't always so good at letting others help her out sometimes. But one of the times that I think this is funny, more recently that she did this, she'd always come to our house and she liked her dog. We have a big Fingerdoodle, big fluffy dog. And you know how she loved her dog, Captain. But she'd come over and she'd just get on the floor and like snuggle with her dog, Despain. And she'd always say, "Can we watch Despain sometime?" And wanting it to be like, it was a privilege for her to maybe watch our dog if we go out of town. So last February, when she was done with her treatments and thought, it was my husband's birthday, we were going up to Brighton, and I was like, "Hey, we need to watch Despain for this couple days." And she's like, "Absolutely, yes, we totally can." While we're on that trip, we find out she's in Hawaii. So we left our dog with her, but she wasn't even there. But she's like, "Well, I knew that if I said no, you wouldn't ask me again." And so I was like, "Kelly, I can't trust you anymore." Because you're going to just say yes to anything. But that was Kelly. She'll say yes to anything. And I so appreciated that about her, that she was willing to be there for you, support you any way that she could. And I just wanted her to let me do the same. And sometimes she would. And in so many ways, just being around Kelli was just always the best. I always kind of sat a little bit on the outside of her orbit sometimes. I wanted to be on some of these trips they went on, and it didn't work out. It wasn't in the cards for us to go to some of these trips. But I remember when she had mentioned her and Jared going to Spain. I was like, "Okay, we're going. We're coming. We're finally coming." And so it was lucky enough that my husband and I got to go with Jared and Kelli to Spain back in 2019, and that was like the ultimate best trip for me. And I don't think it hit her top 10 because she was such a great traveler and did so many fun things. And I just think that's so awesome. And I also was so excited that I got to go with her to France and see the love that she has for all the art and the beauty of France this last year. Another just fun memory maybe not fun memory. As Adrienne mentioned, she had like this gathering of close friends to kind of update us on her cancer. And it was at a time when she was already bedridden, and she was just in her bed. And I was asking her a little bit how that's going for her. And in true Kelli fashion, she just said, "I'm living my best life. I get to just lay here and people come to me, and I can fall asleep and just then wake up and do some more work." And it was just so Kelli to like find the bright side of something that was really hard and really painful and awful. And I just admire her so much in that way. And one more thing, my daughter Emery is a senior, just Claire, and they're friends, and they work together. And probably the greatest compliment I've ever had was Emery and Claire would like tell their coworkers how our dads are kind of the same and our moms are kind of the same. Because Jared and Brian got along really well, and me and Kelli got along really well. And I just thought, if you could ever compare me to Kelli, in just a little tiny way, that is the best compliment ever. And I continue to want to strive to be just like Kelli.
Hi, I'm Justin, also known as Megan's husband. Let's be honest. You've heard a lot about travel, and I can tell you stories about cafes in Amsterdam and camels in Morocco and recreating the Temple of Doom in Angkor Wat, Cambodia. But as I was watching the video at the funeral last week, one very mundane memory came up for me. And it was in an exotic location in a villa in Florence, but it was just playing board games. As we were playing board games with the families, one of the questions that had come up, it was my turn, and the question come up about identify what you would do upon retirement, or something along those lines. And I had written my thing down that I was going to have as my answer, and all the other kids and the adults there are writing down their guess as to who was going to guess what it was that I was going to put. And I don't remember what I put, but I remember what Kelly put. Kelly said, Justin wants to write a novel when he retires. And I thought, you know what? Kelly knows me better than I know myself sometimes. Because you know what? I had told her that at some point in the 16 years of our history. And she remembered that. Even if there was a little Chianti wine involved, she still remembered that. Because Kelly always seemed to know you better than you knew yourself. She remembered. And over the years, she has been there in ways that nobody else has. My mom, similarly, not to compare, but my mom, because of issues, she had to wear a pain pump. So she was essentially just push the shock herself in order to just get through the day because of the condition that she had. And she did it so that she could spend time with her kids and her grandkids. And Kelly exhibited that same devotion to her kids, to her friends, to her family. She endured so much pain over the years just to be able to keep going and keep loving until the very end. It's hard to get mad at Kelly, and Jared is pretty good at it sometimes. But one of the few times that I ever got kind of pissy with Kelly was when we were building this space here. And Jared and I were putting together, I don't know, 100 and some chairs, and Gabby and Ashton were building something else, and Wally was installing the electrical. And I don't even remember what Kelly said, but it was something in her Kelly way. It was some visionary thing that she wanted to, out of the blue, for us to build. And Jared and I were both just kind of done with it. And I regretted ever raising my voice to Kelly ever again, because she always had the vision. This was her vision here. Megan is wonderful and talented, but this is her vision. Let's just be honest. She's the creative one, and she did it because she had a vision, not just for building a small business or creating a space for people, but because she wanted to open her heart to this community and provide an opportunity for others to share with each other. She opened her home so many times, whether it was, I don't know, four election cycles of opening her home to shoot campaign commercials or whatever it was. She just opened her business, she opened her home, she opened her heart to everyone around her every single day, and she made you feel special. And I am so blessed that I got to know her and that we got to spend so much time, and we all wish that we could have spent a little more. Thank you, Kelly.
So I did not have the pleasure of knowing Kelly as long as the other chosen family, but I will tell you, the 4 years that I had the pleasure of seeing her almost every day here at Bottega, she gave me a new family. And she believed in me so much. When I first started coming here, I started using the open space, and I got to know her, and we just became fast friends. And I just remember her always asking me, who are you interviewing with today? Or what station is coming by to, come talk about the latest COVID information? And And she just was so supportive of me as an entrepreneur. And I remember vividly back here at this table. You can't see it, but there's this, we used to hang out at this back table all the time. And we would eat and we would laugh and we'd have a great time. And I remember telling her last year, through all of her cancer diagnosis and everything, and I felt so selfish. I said, Kelly, I think I'm going to quit my job. And I'm going to do this thing full time. And she was so happy and so excited for me. And she was like, you're going to knock it out of the park. You're going to be amazing. You're going to do awesome. And at that point, I had a shared office. And she said, you know what? If you're going to be a full-time entrepreneur, you need your own office. And I said, I don't know if I can afford that. And she said, we're going to make it work because you need your own office. Because you can't have anybody else in there sucking away your dreams. And I just was like, she, as everyone else has said, knew you better than you knew yourself. And one thing that I was so excited about was that I got to go to Kenya this year. And I remember talking with her about how this is a once-in-a-lifetime trip and that I had gotten asked to go and that it was going to be completely covered and paid for. And I said, Kelly, after I go, I'm going to find out all this information and I'm going to figure out how we can get you there. And she said, okay, it's on my bucket list. We're going to go. And when I got back, I brought her this very fancy chocolate from Nairobi. And I remember giving it to her and her just being so excited. And then I found out later she really didn't like dark chocolate. But she was so happy and she was so excited and so joyous when I gave it to her. And she just was so appreciative. And one other story. When Ashton was getting ready to go to college, and by the way, I feel like her kids were my kids because like every time we would talk about them, I would talk about them like they were my kids too. I have 2 kids as well, but I mean, they're much younger, and so it was a lot more fun to talk about like the college and the like growing up and the milestones with you guys. And you were just always here and always present in the space, and so I would take care of you like you were mine when she wasn't able to be here. And I just loved how much she loved you guys and how much she loved this space and how opening and warm and welcoming she was to everyone who came here. And when we were doing all the stuff for the campaign, I asked her if I could borrow some of the shirts that she made that had Kamala on them. And I was part of this group that were creators for Kamala. So it was all these very young, very hip content creators. And I said, Kelly, would it be okay for us to, borrow some of the shirts for the content creation day? And she said, yeah, no problem. And I thought maybe that she would be able to be here so that we could include her in the videos. And unfortunately, it was one of those days where she just really wasn't feeling well. And so I messaged her right before, and I said, is there anything, that we can do for you? And she was like, no, just take whatever you guys want. Don't worry about it. And there was like 12 of us, and she didn't have that many shirts. And she was like, just take whatever you want. And I just remember how just giving she was. She was just so giving of her time, of her talents, of her wisdom. And so many times I had the conversation with her about this moment. And I would just be like, let's not talk about that. And she was like, why? I'm open about it. Like, if you guys were at the service that they had last week, or were able to stream it, because I wasn't able to attend, I just remember the comment about her saying that she was going to haunt the kids. And I just thought that was the best thing ever. And I was like, she's she's totally gonna haunt us. Like, she's here. She's totally here in Bottega, and she's totally gonna haunt us, and I am here for it. Because this space, everything in this space is touched by her, if you don't know that already. Watching her in a giant, I don't know, scaffolding out front. I don't know if you guys remember this, but I was so afraid that she was gonna fall. Every letter that is on that sign, she hand painted. My business cards, the sign on my door, everything she touched is just better, and I don't know what I'm gonna do without her, but I'm gonna try my best. And this place is gonna be fucking amazing because we can't let it fail, because this was her dream and this was her baby. And so if you know anybody who needs an office space, we have several offices open on the other side because the campaigners left, and we'd really love to have a full office. So thank you.
Look around you. How many people are gathering to celebrate Kelli? I also felt that she made me feel so special, and now I'm standing here and I'm like, oh, she did that for everybody else too. That is so unique. So I met Kelli. Bottega had just opened, and I came to an event, and I don't even know if she actually knew this. I don't even know if I told her. I came to somebody's event, and I remember, I think Megan, you were here too, and there was a stage here, and there were chairs, and she was like talking, she was talking about business, and I was a very baby business owner back in 2019. I was still at my job, and I remember I spoke and I was like, I want to be like her. I don't ever think I ever told her that. And a few years later, after COVID, I had this idea that I wanted to host an event, and somebody else was like, well, why didn't we go to Bottega? Because, you know, the owner is a woman, so maybe we can talk to her. And we came with the idea to do Power Try. And she was so excited to host us. She was like, oh my God, and we can do this, and we can do that, and I can do the food, and I can do. And I was like, is she doing this for free? And I will never forget when we had that first event, that table, it was a spread. And when she told me she did that, guys, I am not the hostess with the most. I am like, bought food every day of the week. And when I saw that, I said, oh my God, there is nothing she cannot do. And that was the first time that we became friends, that we were working towards the project. And we did that event several times, all the way to actually fill this room with more than 80 people. And every single person that walked in here was so impressed with her. Everybody loved her. And since then, she was kind of my beacon. I grew and I feel like I never really told her that. She was just my friend, but I looked at her and she was just so courageous. And so many people tell me I'm courageous, and I'm like, oh, but that's why. And last week I was telling my husband, like, you know, you are the average of the 5 people that you hang out with, and that is the truth. And when we were talking about that, I was like, you know, Kelli was one of those 5 people. Kelli was one of those 5 people. I work from here, we did events together, and I run these big events every year, and she was just so supportive. Like, not only as a sponsor, but like this year, she was like, I wanna do your books for you, and I wanna do your bags. And we were getting really close. Like,
Kelly was a little crazy, like she did things like last minute, and it was a little chaotic in her best way. And I remember I told her, Kelly, I just need to know there is 100 women coming to this event. She was like, listen, they are gonna be ready. Well, what happened though? She had Heather and they were working all night doing those bags and printing those books. But the day of the event, those books were there. Those books were there. And a few months earlier, she asked me if she could speak on stage at the event. And I was like, what does she want to talk about? And she was like, well, I want to talk about my story. I want to talk about, this is a women event. And I sat down and I was like, okay, send me an idea, send me a pitch, send me what do you want to talk about? Her pitch was like 20 pages long. And I was like, holy crap, how am I gonna do this? But when I read it, I was like, people need to hear this. She worked so hard to keep Bottega alive. If this was like, this kept her going. Coming here every day made her so happy. Like she was like so happy to see people pursuing their own dreams. So she got to be on stage, and all these women were blown away and were asking questions about like, how can you keep working through this diagnosis? What kept you going? And what she said was like, the people. Like I don't do this for me, I do it for the people. And she touched every single person that she knew. And for me, having met her, has been a number. I just love her, and I'm gonna miss her. But I feel like every single person here is a better person because of her. That's it. Love you, Kelly.
Closely with Kelly and her Moxie Ink design business. Met her back in 2021, coming into Bottega, meeting Kelly and Megan, and 3 months later she was like, hey, I have a trip planned, a 3-month trip. Can you run Bottega for me? So she left me here to run Bottega for about 3 months. So I kind of got looped into the Bottega world as well, but just kind of piggybacking on what, I have to say it now or I'll forget, pregnancy brain, piggybacking on what Ati was saying about her speaking, you know, one of the things that she wanted to do was start speaking at events, and she made it happen. She got to speak at Ati's event, and I got the opportunity to travel with her to LA to speak at the Beverly Hills Hotel, and she spoke at a breast cancer awareness event, and we had the best time, although it was one of the times that she was kind of going down with her diagnosis. That's right before they had found the tumor in her hip. But we had the best time. She knew that I was pregnant before I found out I was pregnant. And in that trip, it didn't matter that she was going through what she was going. She was like, how are you feeling? I'm like, Kelly, it's not about me. How are you feeling? Like, let me go get you some ice. Sometimes she's like, do you want to eat? Do you want to do this? I was like, Kelly, stop worrying about me. Let's worry about you. One of my best memories on that trip was going to Bottega Louis, and they have this beautiful bakery and so many items. And she was like, I want one of these, I want one of those, I want one of these. I said, Kelly, who's gonna eat all this? And she was like, we are. And I was like, no, Kelly, this is like for 50. She got like 10 pieces of dessert, and not just little tiny. I mean, they're huge slices of pie and cake. And she's like, we'll just take a bite of everything, and then we couldn't even fit it into our hotel refrigerator. And I was just like, that's Kelly, and you know, making the best out of whatever situation it was. We'd also bought her wheelchair out in LA, and we decided to go to the fashion district with this wheelchair. So if you've ever been to the fashion district in LA, it's not made for anything ADA accessible. So here we are on the street going through piles of ribbon, of fabric with her wheelchair. I'm moving things out of the way, like just moving their shops out of the way just to make room for Kelli and I to get through, to find ribbon, to find fabric, to find anything and everything. I do have to say that her creativity working with her Moxie Ink designs was out of this world. I don't think that I've ever experienced someone so creative. Just the way that she thought, the way that her mind worked with creating these things. I think if there are any clients in here, the things that she created weren't stock. They weren't, let me find this and make this. Everything was original. If it wasn't something that she could find, she was drawing it. And so her creativity was just, it had no bounds. And the way that she put some words in a box, and it wasn't just a Canva thing. It was this out of this world thing. Her Christmas cards that she created, working on those books for Ati. We went through it, and when she could not figure it out, I guess there was only two options. Either we were gonna figure it out, because we were gonna find a way to figure it out, or she would find someone to figure it out for her clients. But she just wasn't gonna let you go and figure it out. She was gonna be the middleman to get it figured out and then give it to you after it was done. So she was truly amazing. I think we shared so many great memories, whether it was shopping for all the things, I mean, for ribbon, for packaging, for paper. If you look in all the crooks and crannies of Bottega, there is paper everywhere. All kinds of paper, textured paper, colored paper, large pieces of paper, small pieces of paper, just all kinds of paper. And that's one thing that she would just say, oh, we'll get it, we'll use it for something, and we surely would. I mean, you see the ribbon hanging here, we use it for something, for anything. I called her a wholesale queen. One of the things that her sister and her brother-in-law were video was some of the things that she would say. Although I worked with her, I had so many other things going on, and she used to tell me that she didn't deserve me, and I would always say, I think we deserve you. And after sending those pictures to her, she would say, oh my gosh, you are so cool. I don't deserve you. She used to tell me that over and over and over and over again. I was like, how can this woman who's so inspirational, so magical, tell me that she didn't deserve me? And I'm like, I don't think we deserved her love, her passion. I mean, look around the room, how many people are here to celebrate who she was, what she was to us. I don't think that we really deserve someone like her. And I think that one of the biggest lessons that she taught me was the positivity. I mean, she was the most positive person that I've ever met to go through what she was going through. She's like, oh yeah, it's fine. Towards the end, as she was at home, I would go over to her house and work from her house. And I remember we were talking about something, and at the end I was like, all right, Kelli, what's today feeling like for you? How are you doing? She's like, oh, I'm good. I don't have any pants on. And we just laughed and laughed and laughed. And I'm like, okay, through it all, she's still smiling. She's gonna make you laugh. And so she'll truly be missed. And I love the way that she even treated my family. She treated my boys like her own. They were like little Bottega employees themselves. She made sure that their favorite snacks were on the Bottega budget, on the Amazon list. She had Skittles, Oreos on deck for the kids, and she would say, come on, I'll give you some. Hey, handsome, hey, handsome, let me give you some. And I'd be like, they don't need it, we haven't even eaten dinner. It's okay. But she was truly a testament to positivity, to compassion, to love, to keeping that optimism through whatever it is, makes it seem like all the little things that you go through in life are exactly that, little tiny things. And she'll forever be missed.
Okay, well, I guess there's nothing left to say. Everybody said it, so I'll just go with my little story here. I'm Heather. When I met Kelli, roughly like 10 years ago, we were in PTSO together. So we were doing snow cone Fridays, throwing random circuses. It was a thing. She said we could do it, and we did it. T-shirt designs for school. And then I remember one day we were talking during Christmas time, and she wanted to do the Santa shop, where the kids come in and get all these little trinkets, buy stuff for their families. It was junk, but the kids loved it, and Kelly wanted to do it. But while we're getting all this stuff, she was telling me she's making a dress to go dance in the ballet with her daughter and her husband. And I'm like, what is this lady on? I'm like, I want some, and how can I do that? So everything she did was so just inspiring. I mean, you heard that a million times over. When it was time to step down from PTSO, I thought, I need to keep her in my life. And I have a lot of friends, I have people in my life, but I needed to make a conscious effort to keep her in my life, because she just brought so much light, and she saw so much potential that I didn't see. I'm just like, I'm your assistant, you're the president. We're good. I follow your lead. Whatever you want, I'm here for you. And we did it. So we went to a lot of lunches together, and I realized as I was writing this, Wally, we went on a lot of lunches, and I realized she told me the story about why she wanted to go to all these lunches is because her dad told her that she had to leave work. He had to leave work to get a break from work to eat his lunch. So we went on a lot of lunches, and I got touched. So thank you. I ate good. But on one of those lunches, we were at Panera eating our broccoli, cheese soup, and a bread bowl, and she was telling me about Bottega. This was before Bottega existed, and I was like, that sounds great. I don't get it. Like, I don't get it. So I'm like, all right, cool. And she's like, and then you're gonna come work for me. And I went, no. But maybe. We'll talk in a few years. And then we did. Fast forward a few years later, and her dream became a reality. She bought Bottega. She's about 2 years in, I think. We met for lunch again, and it was divine intervention. I was ready to make the move, and she needed somebody to help her run Bottega. And on my very first day, I came in, and she said, come on back to my office. I need you to feel my boobs. I think I have a lump. And I don't need to tell you what happened from there. She had a lump, and she threw me in it. And so I was just here at Bottega, calling her, sometimes crying. What do? I don't know Bottega. And I still didn't quite get it. And then after a while, I got it. The members in here, the people here, they wanted to help me make Bottega Kelly's thing. And with the members' help, I got it. And I see her vision. I just never thought I would be here doing it without her. So it is my greatest honor to continue her legacy here if I can. I will never be Kelly. I am not as creative. I will call Liz for all the decorations. Thank you, Liz. It's beautiful. But as long as Jared will have me, I'll be here to help him along the way.
So a lot of you watched the funeral, and what I said there, I'm just trying to process this. Whenever she would bring it up, passing away, dying, which she would do just to get under my skin, I would say, stop. I mean, we don't have to worry about this for a long time. We got 5 to 10 more years, and she was right, I guess. I don't know. That's a terrible argument to have. To lose. My thoughts and feelings are still very similar. So I guess the reason I was talking about the funeral is because I want to express them similarly, a lot of what I said there, I'm still trying to work through and still trying to find ways that I can learn from it, and try to find reasons to be grateful, which there's lots. I should just say that. I'll cut to the end and say there's a ton of reasons to be grateful. And I'll go through some of that just briefly. We're going to have a toast after my talking here, so if anybody's in charge of pouring the stuff, let's get them started at least. We do have sparkling cider and some sparkling wine, so be careful which one you want to take if you're one or the other. And then Megan's going to lead that. So first of all, thank you guys for everybody that came. I know it's a huge pull for everyone, not just the family, but I can look out and see that it's a huge pull for everybody that's here, that is left. And initially it's just, what are we going to do? And that's the first thing that I said to her. What are we going to do? When I found out about 2 weeks ago. And she just said, we can't do anything right now, let's go to sleep. And so we're good. And it's also, I understand that what I want to say right now is a little bit redundant, but it's such a strong, powerful message that I feel like I need to keep talking about what Kelli brought to each and every one of us, myself especially, but what she did. And I'm trying to figure out how, right? How we can repeat that process, how we can be as optimistic and as passionate as she was. She didn't, so let me just start with this. When things didn't go her way, as has been said, she didn't dwell on it. It just didn't, you didn't know that things didn't go her way because it just didn't matter, right? She moved on, and you never really heard about it again. I had mentioned earlier that I used to listen to a lot of audio programs or read motivational type books, and she would just be like, why do you even read that? That's so weird. And I needed that. I needed to practice being inspired. I needed to practice being positive-minded. And I realized much, much later that she didn't have to practice that. It came naturally. So she's like, why would you ever need to read about how to be motivated and inspirational and passionate? It just was a very natural thing for her, and she lived it. And as been mentioned a few times last year, she gave speeches in front of large groups, and it was always very inspiring and very positive, and it just flowed out of her naturally. But she was positive to her core, to the point where even being faced with certain death, it was just a positive spin on death. I don't know how she did that, but it was a chipper smile on her face as I'm going to design my casket. And that drove me crazy, but it was just her positivity. Let me skip that. Obviously things didn't always go her way. She had lupus that we found out, and I was reading her journal, and it was probably 10 years of having all of the symptoms of lupus without knowing that she had lupus, and being in pain and having arthritis, and she would mention that, but it was never complaining. And so things didn't go her way, but when she found things that brought her joy, she just did it. She was a big proponent of reinventing yourself. She felt like, and she would tell me this, it's okay. I think everybody needs to reinvent themselves at least a couple of times in their life. And I think because it just came so easily, and she was always successful when she did it, that it would just be that way for everybody. And it might be. So she gave me the courage to reinvent myself, because she went from, I had to write it down, from high school cheerleader to university student to beauty school, and then back to university to graduate, and then setting up a home salon, and that's thriving, and you met some people that were able to do that, and she really enjoyed that. There was creativity there, and she was very successful at that. And then she's just like, I don't want to do that anymore. I want to draw. And I'm like, but there's money in there. I don't know so much about the drawing thing, but okay. And I was okay. And so she did it, and then she turned it into a thriving business, and reinvented herself, and did it so well. Drawing, graphics, the shirts that she made, the sewing. She recently had to start, for some of her clients, had to start designing and coding websites. And it wasn't just the easy stuff. It was, she would be in bed, I can't figure this part out, and she'd have to get in, and she learned how to code a website because of of a client. I mean, it was just, that's not what you do. You're a graphic designer. But this person needs me to design and host their website. So now we've got to figure that out for them. I'm not sure how we're going to do that. Well, we will, if we're here. So she found a way to take her talents and create a life around it. And she obviously found a lot of joy in being creative. Everything in here is her creation, almost everything. And I encourage you all to just walk around and look at some of these things that she's done between these big giant paper flowers that she would make. And it's nuts, the stuff that she did. And I guess I don't want to say I took it for granted. I just didn't see the beauty of it at the time, and now I do, and I hate that it took me till now to do that. Skip some more, save us some time. So she initially, for the first few years, so when we created this space, she would come home from time to time and just being, right? And I have some of the people that I worked with for the last 20 years. I was in sales and in management, and we all know how challenging that job was. It was really hard, and we would come home and be frustrated or angry, or it just didn't go our way that day. And she was always very, very supportive of that. But she would come home and be beaming and say, "Jared, oh, it was so great. I loved being at Bottega and just looking around and seeing the peoples that are connecting. And we created this amazing thing. And I was so grateful that she did that, right?" And like I said before, I'm a little jealous, but also so happy for her that she could come in and create this. And to the point where she got Moxie Inc., her graphic design company, doing pretty well. She had a lot of consistent customers and bringing in income, and she would have to use that income to supplement Bottega for a long time, right? To make ends meet, because she just wanted this so much, right? And so and we're fine now, by the way, we don't have to worry about that. But that's how much she was so passionate about this that she was willing to do all the other work to keep this going, just for everybody else. And I'm so grateful that she's had these connections and friendships in so many things. I'm up in that one. I want to do something real quick. Anybody that's had connections with Kelli, close your eyes if you need to, but just think of a time when she made you feel special, and it was all the time, right? For me, it was almost daily. But just put in your mind's eye for just a moment. Smile at the moment. I want to point out, the reason I do this is there's tens of thousands of times that happened. It was pretty consistent. And as I've been thinking about my wife and our family, I keep thinking, man, am I glossing over something? Am I forgetting something that she did wrong? And I couldn't really think of any glaring, other than these projects, right? She would do these projects, and this example that you guys brought up, she's doing these booklets and all this paraphernalia for the event, and I'll be home by 7. I'll be home by 8. I'll be home by 10. I'll be home by midnight. It was like 2 or 3 in the morning, I don't know. So I guess really what I'm trying to say is she underestimated everything she did. Because again, I think that's an optimist, positive brain of, it's gonna be fine, we're gonna get this. Just build this thing here, Jared, okay. I don't know what you're, like she wanted this thing right here behind us to like float somehow. And I'm like, gravity exists, you gotta figure it out. It was amazing. There's no point to that story. I guess there kind of is. She lived and operated on her own terms, and she lived authentically. And usually when somebody says, oh, they live authentically and vulnerably, and it's usually like it's an excuse to, that's why they are the way they are. It's a reason. For her to live authentically, I can't think of a single person, and there might be one, but I can't think of anybody that was ever offended by her living authentically, right? She could do it in a way where she had her beliefs, and they were strong, and she had her way, but it never really impinged on anybody else. And they still felt loved, and they still felt seen and heard and understood, even if you sat on the complete opposite side of whatever spectrum of that. So I guess really the lesson there is you can be authentic and open and honest and live an honest life and still be loved by everyone, right? I need to express my love and appreciation for so many. I think almost every single person in this room has said multiple times, what can we do? How can I help? I'm so sorry, I want to help you. And Kelly and I would talk and say, I wish there was a way that we could have everybody help. I'm so grateful. I know how blessed I am with our families, with our friends, how deeply they felt about Kelly, and I thank you for that. Thank you. Just like when I was talking at the funeral, I want to also do the public service announcement of women to get your breast exams and your mammograms, and if it comes back with dense breast tissue, as hers did, go the next step. It's most likely nothing. The chances are really low, which is why they don't do it, but it was a surprise. She had gotten a mammogram, so it was something that, you can't go back in time, but I would just highly say, please make sure you're taking care of yourselves and do that. We've really lost someone who so many people have told me was the best of us, and I really believe that. I saw everything of her from the beginning to the end. If there was anything bad, I didn't see it. She was really the best. She was easy to love, but she loved everybody unconditionally. So I'm grateful for that. As short as it was, and I wish it would have been a lot more, but again, thank you guys for being here. We're going to have the toast, and then we'll have some microphones that we can pass around. If anybody else would like to share, I'd love for memories and things like that. But thank you. Thanks for being here.